All right, all right. It's Titan Game Day Live, the pregame show. Sam Phelan and Easton Freeze with you here for A to Z Sports on a Monday night edition of Titans Game Day Live. Got a matchup with the Miami Dolphins to talk about this evening. We're going to preview it here for about 30 minutes with kickoff coming around 6:30. Easton and I are going to go over kind of the lose-lose situation that exists for the Titans because a loss is very bad and a win is
it's like a loose
know.
stay. It's a loose stay.
We'll fill in the blank. A win is blank. I guess
right.
that's kind of something that we'll get to in a little bit, but we'll have to see, just how much the Titans can move the needle with a primetime victory over the Miami Dolphins. That's kind of the topic that we explore. As I see the chat has already, as you pointed out, Austin, said some prayers before we get going in, here on a Monday night. So appreciate everybody tuning in as always, and appreciate our partners. Want to give them some love as we get things started here. They are X Golf Nashville, and now X Golf Murfreesboro. They're the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. X Golf, play, train, entertain. Play xgolf.com. BetMGM, you log in today and get your Pro Football Boost Pack to acquire tokens for more winnings on BetMGM. They're an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. And TDOT, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee. Visit nobodytrashestennessee.com. Okay, Easton, I brought it up here because you and I both kind of had the same thought when we were previewing this game, which is obviously a loss, and the Titans going to 0-4 here on primetime is like disaster more than like somehow a worse, bigger disaster than
it's
we're
scary
already
hours,
at.
man.
I already feel
hours.
like we're at rock bottom. But the real question is, what does a win do, right? I think a win does a lot for the Titans' momentum, and that has certainly been one of the messages kind of spoken to you and I in the locker room and at the podium throughout the last few weeks was, all right, they've got a bye week coming up, and if you can just get a win before the bye, is there an opportunity for the Titans to build momentum? This feels like a big game for more reasons than just your season and record hanging in the balance, sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if technically being 0-4 kills you any significantly more than 0-3 does.
Yeah.
In terms of
Okay,
just like
fair.
statistics, but in terms of vibes, it feels night and day, right? The energy, especially with a week 5 bye, and that's the crux of this. If they had a game next week, maybe it's a slightly different picture. But the difference between sitting for 2 weeks on 1-3, coming off of a win, and 0-4, having not figured it out for an entire month of September, you can't overstate how big a deal that is. I think for both the team and the players in that locker room, but also for the fans. You and I talking a lot about, just from like our actual job perspective, it's going to suck if we have to, write things for the next 2 weeks and they're 0-4 and we're talking trade deadline. And it'll get weird and boring, I think, for us. Not fun.
Yeah, I mean, Darren says here he wishes he was more excited for tonight.
Yeah, it's a primetime game. You should be up for tonight. It should be exciting.
And that's 10x with a loss, right? Like, I think there is a world where a win tonight starts to build a little bit of momentum, especially right, and we'll get into some of these conversations, like what does the win look like?
Mm-hmm.
And where do we go from there? But there is a world where a win, you start to figure out, okay, what are we dealing with here? You've got a bye week, you've got the Colts, there starts to be a little bit more buzz around, can this team figure it out? And I know this from my baseball fandom very well, Easton, being a Chicago White Sox fan who just witnessed the worst team in the history of baseball.
Hey, congrats on that.
Yeah, thanks. My issue with the White Sox this year, and I think the worst thing is it was over in week 2. You start 2-13 or whatever you start, and you're like,
right.
Okay, it's over. I don't care about baseball anymore.
Sure.
And I don't want Titans fans to have this feeling like we waited so long for football to get here. Let's not go 0-4 and go into a week 5 bye. At that point, this level that Darren is talking about, of I wish I was more excited for tonight, translates to pretty much everything across the board, where it's going to be hard to get up for games in the future.
You start planning some unusual fall activities, maybe some hiking on Sundays.
Hey, yeah,
that wedding that your buddy planned on a Sunday that you were pissed about preseason, suddenly you're not so mad about it anymore. Yeah, it's going to get tight. But the question that you and I wanted to ask the listeners tonight along these lines, and those of you with us in the comments, let us know your answers here. What does a win actually do for the Titans? Does a win get you back in on the Titans hype train? That is our question for you guys tonight. So in the comments, let us know your thoughts. What does a win actually mean getting to 1-3 before the bye?
Yep. So we're going to ask it, are you back in or still out? I need back in or still out as the two answers here on the Titans after a potential win. So should they beat the Dolphins? We're looking at a hype train. We're looking at the season. We're talking intrigue. Are you back in or you're still not really buying it? Let us know. I'm about to try and get this out to the people on Twitter to see if they can do that. Easton, are you seeing comments coming in the chat that you want to get to here?
Yeah, seeing plenty of comments. It does give hope, according to Mario. He will be softly back in. Alonzo says it does nothing for him. TLG says you got to get back to 500 for his enthusiasm to get back. Brandon says you got to get to 4 wins. So a high bar for Brandon. Randy says
4
just
wins
a little
at
bit.
what point? Like 4 and 5
by the end of the season. Got to get to 4. You got 17 games.
Brandon's in.
That's right. Jordan says he's back in. Ken says he is still out. Jonathan says it takes the pressure off, which is not an answer we were asking, but I do think it's a fair way of looking at it. Kenneth says he has just a foot on the train. He's considering stepping aboard the hype train. Christopher and Mario are both still out. Arikos says there is hope. Sam, I would say I err with the people that have maybe a foot on the train, folks that say it takes the pressure off. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It's not necessarily a lose-lose tonight, but it is a lose stay put. I think it keeps you hanging on for the next 2 weeks, heading into a pivotal Colts matchup, your first divisional matchup. In terms of your belief in this team, this is the spot where they have to start to turn it around. And I was listening to Bill Belichick on Pat McAfee spot he did today, where he was talking about how everybody's talking about win streaks, and you got to be, what teams wanting to get on a win streak in the NFL. And he's just saying, every win streak starts with one win. You got to get one. That the first one is the beginning. And so that's what the Titans are focused on, going 1-0 this week. I do think that this is as must win a spot as the fact that you're playing a backup quarterback just amplifies the pressure. I feel like because
you lose
the way it looks,
straight backup quarterbacks, right? Like you
can't do it. You can't do it. So I would say that a win tonight doesn't make me all the way back in on this team can compete this year, but it does keep me from tuning all the way out.
Yeah, I think you're in the right headspace. I would say if it's still out or back in the way that we framed it, I would go still out.
Sure.
Just in the context of I'm not eating right. I've stayed relatively positive about Will Levis throughout some of these downs. But I think overall as a team, it's hard to look at the Titans right now and be hyped, even with a win, right? Because even with a win against the Dolphins, that the Dolphins aren't looking necessarily like the Dolphins because they won't have Raheem Mostert. They won't have their quarterback. Like, this is a different version of this team. It's not like you're beating a playoff caliber team. I would need to see the Titans, like you said, stack victories and particularly beat a contender and / just competitive team. Like, if you beat the Dolphins and then you look good against the Colts and pick up a division win against the Colts, now we've got something, right?
Sure.
Now we're starting to talk about a team that has some real intrigue to it. This is like stave off extinction. Like, just don't go extinct tonight. Don't have this be a 4th straight catastrophic loss where we're all the way checked out. And if you can just survive and advance another week of not being dead, that's how it starts, right? Don't die, and then maybe you'll start to build a little bit of momentum to get somewhere.
Well, as Jonathan brings up in the comments here, how they win, if they were to win, is a big part of this. Yeah. But for me, the fact that it's a backup kind of dolens that a little bit, because if they win like the Dolphins did last year when they scored 70 points, then sure, I'll be back in on one game alone if they just look incredible. But even if they win by 2 scores tonight, I'm still going to, in our post-game show, be like, well, it was Tyler Huntley on a, he's not been with the team for 2 weeks. This is a Dolphins team.
It's different if it's a 2-score win because it's Tyler Huntley versus like if Levis throws for 303 touchdowns.
Totally.
But go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really, no matter what, barring a like all-world beatdown, I'm still going to be a little skeptical of this team after just one win.
Which I think is fair, right? I mean, even if Levis throws for 303 touchdowns, I'm going to be hyped for Will Levis as an individual. Sure. I'm going to be buying the Levis hype as an individual. But whether or not this team can repeat that and be a consistently productive offense, we haven't seen that yet, right? Like I think 37 games, I believe it was, and like in about 70% of the Titans games since the start of the 2022 season, when I started covering this team full time, they have come up short of 20 points. That's not even 20 on the dot. It's less than 20 points. In 70% of their games since the start of 2022. So we have not seen this group be a consistent offense. So like, I agree how the win happens matters. We might be singing a different tune in the spur of the moment after like a nice, strong victory that makes us all feel good about ourselves. But at the same time, do I believe that the Titans are then going to be that exact same team against the Colts and Bills and in all the games that follow? I'm not sure I'd be ready to take that leap yet. It would probably take a lot for me to feel like this is just going to be what it is. And it does depend how it looks, but it's hard to imagine what has to transpire for me to get into that headspace.
Well, and ultimately the Titans are in recovery here, right? It's a multi-step recovery. Step one is to admit that you have a problem and get in the win column. Yeah. Step two is the consistency, right? So let's cross that threshold of getting a win. We'll be here in the post-game show. I am looking forward to, as an employee of A to Z Sports, finding out what it feels like to be in a post-game show where things aren't just miserable. That's something I haven't experienced yet.
Few and far between.
Right. Hopefully that's what we're doing here in a couple hours, but that's step one. And then we can talk later this evening about, okay, they got that first win. How do they carry this momentum and consistency into week 6 when they come back?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and transition to how the Titans could potentially get this victory. It's the X Golf Nashville live read and the X Golf Nashville X Factor. So going to ask you guys, who or what will be the X Golf X Factor for a Titans win today over the Dolphins? Easton, you have one on offense. I have one on defense. Before we get to those, I'm going to tell everybody about our friends at X Golf. I do not love anything like I love X Golf. Like, X Golf is the spot. If you haven't been, go. It is the spot. I'm telling you what. Indoor golf simulators with all the information you need to improve your game. You can get all of your swing mechanics, swing metrics, ball flight metrics to really improve your game. You can do so with an open bar, with food, with friends. This is the spot to go. They're in Nashville. They're in Murfreesboro. They've reinvented the player experience by creating the most accurate indoor golf simulators on the market today. Facts, right? Like, I have been able to improve my golf game tremendously by going to X Golf and using the feedback that they have there. They also have some lessons, and new Monday Night Football leagues are starting later this fall as well. So you can come compete for prizes and bragging rights while watching Monday Night Football on one of 10 big screen TVs standing around the bar. Monday Night Football leagues, and you can start and find those league details at playxgolf.com. Okay, Easton, you said you had one. You were feeling good about this. On the offensive side of the ball, you were going to give me your X factor for a Titans victory.
I am, but I don't want to short our listeners here. We've got many X factors submitted in the comments, so I'll get to mine in just a second. Let's see what the folks here in the comment section have to say. Johnny says that T'Vondre Sweat is going to be the X factor tonight. Important note, if you have not been paying attention, the inactives list today included Jeffrey Simmons. You spoke this morning, Sam, about how you felt kind of bamboozled by that this past week. Put me on that list. That just all of the talk and the vibes all week felt like this was a no big deal situation. And then he's not available. So I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, no Jeff on Wednesday practice. And you're like, all right, yeah, it's precautionary. No Jeff on Thursday practice. Okay, that's why are we not seeing Jeff out there?
Well, when we're talking to him in the locker room, he's saying, I can't wait to go up against Aaron Brewer. All of these things. It sounds
absolutely
like Jeff's
speaking like a guy that was going to play. And Brian Callahan didn't seem to be super concerned about it. Brian Callahan talked about Jeff like, yeah, day to day. But hey, luckily we've got the extra day to rest so that Jeff can be good to go. And then, no, Jeff, doubtful on the injury report pops up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then sure enough, he's not playing in Miami. I don't know what went on there.
I do feel like
or
the
a game
bye
that
being
feels
next
like
week
it
played into this. I think the fact that they saw an opportunity to have him get fully back is part of it.
See,
I
man,
don't agree with it. I just think
I'm the opposite way of that. Like, if you have this bye week coming, you have an opportunity to rest for 2 straight weeks leading up until, this game against the Colts that's coming in week 6 here. That to me is your opportunity to get right. But we just talked about your season is on the line tonight. Like, you have no hope at 0-4. I'm sorry, you don't. So win tonight, tough it out tonight, stop the run tonight. I would have liked to see Jeff out there. I'm kind of disappointed that he's not playing.
Well, and to Johnny's point, a big spot for Devondre Sweat to step up here.
Absolutely.
Zach says L'Jarius Sneed, who is another guy we were wondering whether we'd see tonight. Good news is that he was not inactive, so all indications we will see L'Jarius Sneed. Thank God, somebody out there to guard Tyreek Hill, pretty good football player. End of the Fed, Chicago says X Factor is Chig Okonkwo. Another answer on the Chig department from Duran thinks that it's Chig or D-Hop. On the defensive side of the ball, Jeff got to play. Bad news, not playing. Randy, tried and true here. Turnover battle. It's boring, but it's true. Turnovers win and lose football games. I feel pretty good about the Titans winning if they win the turnover battle tonight. And if they don't, it's a lot of the same. Derek says Jarvis Brownlee Jr. stepping up. A home game for Jarvis, as you wrote about this past week, playing in his home city and going to be getting a lot of run with Cheeto not out there. So we appreciate you guys with your answers. My answer here, and if you're wanting to read in the 13 minutes you have before the game, I did write this morning an article about what the Titans need to do. And it was framed in a way that reflected the tenets of Mike Vrabel. The 3 things that he said most often to us, Sam, were you got to play better, got to coach better, and you can't do dumb that hurts the team. And those are the 3 things the Titans have to do tonight. You need to have a safe, boring type production game against a backup quarterback on the road. Just win, baby. And those are the ways to do it. That was kind of the Mike Vrabel way. And under the category of coach better, that's going to be my X factor this evening. I think there are 3 things. I'm not going to say that the Titans coaching has been a big problem by any means. There are much bigger problems for them so far this season. But I think there are 3 areas in which the Titans coaching staff can better equip this team. Number 1, this is the most important thing. They have to tonight do a better job scheming around the right tackle position. We know NPF's going to be the guy out there, but I wrote an entire article about this last week. We spent the last 2 years, Sam, talking about how in the NFL you can get by with 1 quality tackle, but the Titans have had no quality tackles, and you are DOA if you have no tackle play. Now the Titans have one. They have a guy in J.C. Latham. Is it fair to lean this heavily on him this early in his career? No, but this is what you draft guys in the top 10 for, to be able to be that anchor out of the gate.
Fair, right? Like, I mean, he's top 10 pick.
Is it ideal? Maybe not ideal, but
not
is it
ideal.
Fair? You know what? This is what you draft him for. So you need to do that. And you have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line coaches in the league. We see all kinds of teams every single year make do with 1 quality tackle. The Titans got to get on that train, get creative, figure it out. That's number 1. Number 2, I think it's important for them to emphasize the quick game, not just in this game, but throughout the rest of the season. Will Levis's percentage of passes, Sam, in less than 2.5 seconds. So the passes in which he's getting the ball out in 2.5 seconds or less this season, that's 34.2%, which is the worst of any Titans or Bengals quarterback since at least 2018. And with the current state of this pass protection, I don't understand why you wouldn't be looking to get the ball out as quickly as possible. For reference, last year, Joe Burrow under Brian Callahan was getting the ball out that quickly twice as often as Will Levis is this year. Right, exactly. Jake Browning was also high on that list. So you've got the guys that archetypically you want to get the quick game ball to. Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, Chig, Josh Wiley. These are guys that you can dump the ball off to and let them be athletes in space, make a play. That's something you need to do tonight. Get those guys the ball, do it fast, make the offensive line's job a little bit easier. And then finally, number 3, can you adjust mid-game? We've not seen a whole lot in that department from the Titans coaching staff so far. Now, it's a young coaching staff, and that's something that comes with time, comes with reps. That's what really separates the best coaches in the league from the riffraff. But can you identify things that are working really well or, more importantly, not working for you in the game and get away from them in a hurry. Find something new. Those are the three things I think the coaches can do in this game to be the X factor for the Titans.
Yeah, I like it. I particularly like the one building around the right tackle and finding a way to scheme around that. Brian Callahan, I talked ad nauseum about this. I don't need to go on and on about his explanation for the reason we're not winning is turnovers. But I think the causation of those turnovers is really important here. One of those is protecting the quarterback.
Sure.
One of those is making sure that you're not getting Will Levis hit and strip sacks, fumbles, blocked punts. Those plays have been just as detrimental to the Titans in some of these losses as pick sixes have been for the Titans. And those in particular can be prevented by doing a better job of protecting your QB. So I would like to see that. I like that answer. I'm on the defensive side of the ball. And, with Jeffrey Simmons out, as much as I wanted to look at Tavondre Sweat, I can't help but look at the guy that the Titans were being coy with pretty much all week, which is the cornerback, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., the guy that, Brian Callahan said needed to step up in the absence of Chidobe Awuzie.
We still don't know if he's starting tonight, Sam. We still don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We got mystery. Denard Wilson steps to the podium, tries to act like the head coach didn't call out Brownlee as the guy who's going to be getting a majority of the snaps.
Right.
So this is a big, big game in primetime. Brownlee has had some growing pains as a rookie. I thought he had a very good training camp. He impressed me very much. Got some good work in against Calvin Ridley throughout, all of August, really. Had very good preseason at times, has had some tackling issues to start the year here. Sure. And I worry about Brownlee in prime time against this receiving core that is so fast and quick and explosive, and how he looks. I think if he can hold his own, I trust Roger McCreary and L'Jarius Sneed to do their job enough. And if that group as a whole is, covering at least for a decent amount of time, right now we're forcing Tyler Huntley to do something Tyler Huntley really is uncomfortable doing, which is sit in the pocket and try and make reads and deep throws down the field. He thrives in quick passing games. He thrives in the option. He's very good at with his legs, obviously, but let's make Tyler Huntley throw the ball. Let's not give him easy opportunities to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Let's give our defensive line potentially some options to get home and hopefully set the edge one time. Looking at you, Arden Key. But for that to work, I think I have to look at Jarvis Brownlee, somebody who will be picked on in this game. You're out of your mind if you think Mike McDaniel is not scheming up as many opportunities as he can to get the ball to whoever Brownlee is guarding.
Probably Waddle, right? Because you're going to have Sneed on Tyreek Hill, I'd imagine, shadowing a good part of the game. They're not going to move McCreary out from the slot, I don't think. So that other outside guy is going to be Brownlee, and it's going to be a lot of Waddle out there. So, quick player, fast, good receiver. That's a big test. I think that's a great answer from you.
This is the type of game that NFL fans traditionally look up and go, oh, Jalen Waddle had 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, how about that Dolphins receiving core? It's because if you don't have 2 corners that can really lock down both of these guys, you are in trouble. And so look at what Malik Willis did to the Titans last week. Malik Willis excelled against the Titans defense because he was able to extend plays with his legs, something that I think Tyler Huntley's going to be able to do. And Malik got the ball out of his hands quickly. Like, there was a lot of big plays.
Fastest of the week. Yes.
Fastest of the week. He was able to drop back, one read, diagnose single coverage, and give your guy a shot with the ball. And I think that we could see some of that coming Jarvis Brownlee's way. In fact, we probably will. If he's good, the Titans defense will go with him. And that's my key this week to locking down the Dolphins and getting a big win.
All right. Do we want to get to some predictions here and then some bets?
Yep. Let's go ahead, get to our predictions. So in the chat, drop your final score. The Dolphins are minus 2.5 favorites in this game. And if you're going to bet it, make sure you go and bet it with our friends at BetMGM. Use the code ATOZ Sports to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. BetMGM is the sportsbook born in Vegas and an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued is not withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. All right, Dolphins minus 2.5. Easton, what is the chat saying? What are these final scores coming in at?
Brian is not confident. Thinks it's going to be a 56-6 Dolphins blowout.
I disagree. I'm going to go on the record. Brian is going to be wrong.
But Brian, go ahead and bet those Fins minus 49.5. That'll be a big hit for you. Duran says 21-17 Miami. Just for frame of reference, folks, we're looking at a pretty low total this week, 38 points. So not expecting a lot of points in this one, according to Vegas. Derek thinks the Titans win 17-13 in a tight one. Andrew, Dolphins 24-17. Dylan, Dolphins 20-27. Rashad says Titans 24, Dolphins 14. More Dolphins winners than Titans winners in here. So like I said, is confident the Titans get a big one tonight, 31-6. And then Veterans Grown says Titans 20-13. You know, Sam, I do think that the Titans are going to win this game. I said that last week too, and I was wrong. So you know what? I'm less confident today. Not quite as chesty, my answer there. But I do think that this is listen, you see teams with their back against the wall really throw the kitchen sink at a team. This is a kitchen sink spot for the Titans. I do think that they come out all cylinders firing, and I think that the players take it personally. I think they win. I think they win relatively comfortably. Maybe a little bit of garbage time points for the Dolphins gets them back in range. But, you know, I'll say the Titans end up winning 27-17. I think we might see more points in this game than Vegas anticipates. Just something about primetime games. Those point totals can go a little higher than you think. You know, something about this game. I think that we maybe have a little disappointing offensive night, fast track down there in Miami. I'm going to go Titans 27-17 and get a confusing win because we won't really know what to make of it at the end. All
right, I'm going to go with another prediction that is oddly specific because that is how I like doing all of my predictions. Because why not? You know, the more specific, the more correct I am. I'm going to take a final score of 23-21, a Titans victory, and a missed field goal by Jason Sanders with time expiring cost the Dolphins the game.
So the Dolphins lose maybe a little bit more than the Titans win.
Well, potentially a blocked field goal. Potentially coming by.
Who gets the block, Captain Specific?
Yeah, let me manifest. I'm trying to think.
Arden Key Redemption team?
No, I'm trying to think who's on my kick team here. Blocked field goal. I'm picturing it in my head. James Williams returning home to Miami. James Williams blocks. If this happens,
you and your narrative, man.
If this happens, folks, 23-21. That's my final score. I do think we're going to see at least 2 offensive touchdowns from the Titans. And hopefully, I'm also going to make a prediction here. We are going to get two Titans takeaways on defense. 2 turnovers forced by this Titans defense, which will put them in scoring position. Possibly saves them the game late in this game is the idea that you get a late turnover that gets you some points. So, am I cooking or am I stupid? We'll see.
I think you might be stupid about some of them, but I do like the turnover regression. Just mathematically speaking, they are due to get some turnovers. And against a backup quarterback, that's certainly a spot.
You can't do it against Tyler Huntley and Malik Willis in back-to-back weeks. I don't think you're going to do it.
When are you doing it?
I don't think you're going to do it. Like we cannot go to week 6 without a defensive turnover by this team. So yeah, hopefully. All right. Like the show here before we head out. We'll be back at halftime. Easton and I are going to be reacting to whatever happens in this first half of this Titans game. We're getting ready for kick in Miami right now. So go lock it in and come back at halftime and then see how right I am. And everybody will be praising me when this is all said and done. Oh, Sam, you were so correct. We'll see you guys later. Tighten up and peace out till halftime.